Another prime example that I can give you guys is P. Diddy. Recently, it has been announced that P. Diddy is only going to serve 4 years in prison. Meanwhile, we understand that this dude drugged and did a lot of, unspeakable things to people just to blackmail them. I mean, he's been doing this since in the 90s, and he just got convicted in 2025. You guys remember the club shooting? Yeah, the one where J-Lo was a part of. Yeah. I mean, all I can say is P. Diddy is the Epstein of the rap scene. Ooh, damn, that sounds good. P. Diddy is the Epstein of the rap scene. Oh, shit. Oh, man, look, I got to clip that one. But you get what I'm saying. That was fire. I just came up from the top of the dome. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be reacting to another video by Maury. And all I got to say is, please go watch my previous video about the whole David situation. And you'll understand what I mean when I say I was right. I'm just saying, I was right. With that being said, David named not a suspect by police. New update. Ooh, my God. I mean, it's a pattern. You notice the pattern the longer you've been living in America and the more you pay attention to celebrities and the type of stuff that they do and the type of stuff that they have to do to stay relevant. Everything starts to make a lot more sense and you're like, oh, now I see what Buzz was talking about. So please go watch it. All right, let's get it.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
And before you leave, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe.
Before we get into the actual news and the meat and potatoes, I just want to announce that I officially have my own podcast on Spotify by the name of Maury in the Morning and Night. Links will be in the description. I'm pretty much going to be taking a new approach to how I create content now, since I am going to be uploading a lot of my content to Spotify. So with that said, for those of you who have Spotify or Apple Music, I am going to be getting on Apple Music soon, and who don't care for much about, actually watching the video, but just listening to what I have to say about a particular news story, you're in luck, because I'm going to be trying to, tweak how I create content a bit to cater to people, who are running errands, doing chores, shopping in a supermarket, driving a car, or are just trying to get through their day with the need to listen to something in the background. So with that said, everybody be sure to head on over to my new podcast, Maury in the Morning. All links in the description. And also for those of you with Instagram, which I pretty much think is everybody, be sure to follow me on IG at MauryHQ. I do want video ideas and stories to talk about. It is kind of hard finding daily topics to talk about all the time that I know you guys will be interested in. So if you want to help me out, be sure to head on over to my Instagram as well. Drop a follow, DM me, anything, literally anything that you think might be interesting for this entire community, because we are a community. Be sure to do that, and I'm always open to suggestions. So yeah, with that said, let's get into the story. Now, as according to today's latest update from multiple news sources, by the way, multiple media outlets have reported that David has not been named as a murder suspect in Celeste Rivas's case. Police confirm in a new statement, and this was reported by Daily Loud, Drama Alert, Say Cheese.
I knew it. I knew he wasn't gonna get locked up. I'm not stupid. I know how these celebrities work. They've been doing this for so many, what do you call it, man? Look at, I'm over here just slip and slip. I can't even use my vocabularies right, man. But what I'm gonna say is, I knew it. They've been doing it for decades. They've been unaliving innocent people to boost their career. And this was another case. And they don't get locked up because it's a ritual situation that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. I knew he wasn't going to get locked up. I just knew from the get-go he's going to be scot-free. That's just the reality of things. Now they have something on him. If this dumbass decides to go against the program, if this dumbass decides to go against the elite that are not promoting his music and making sure that he stay on top, guess what? They're just going to reopen the case and say, well, we found new evidence that, hey, perhaps David was the person who unalived that girl.
Rap House, E! News, BET, and many other media outlets in regards to the latest updates surrounding this case. Now, one thing I do want to make abundantly clear is...
I'm sorry for pausing it so long, but have you noticed that David hasn't said anything about it because they told him to keep his mouth hush-hush? If he was to say something, they might have used that as evidence to prove that he was guilty of it. I'm just saying, his music, like, the fact that he had it in the music videos tells me all I need to know, ladies and gentlemen. He snitched on himself in the music video. And when a rapper or somebody like that, when they do some heinous crime, guess what they do? They put it in their music video. I mean, seriously, why would you unalive somebody and then go ahead and tell the whole entire world that you did something that you weren't proud of? That's what he said. I mean, not that he wasn't proud of, like he said he didn't feel bad or some shit like that. I don't listen to his song, but you get what I'm saying.
That just because he has not been yet named as a suspect in this case does not mean that the police, law enforcement, FBI is not watching him as a potential suspect. So to make things abundantly clear, I'm pretty sure police and detectives on this case are sitting on a boatload of evidence of which they're probably going to use to prosecute David. You know, of course, people are upset and angry about this. They're questioning why he has not been locked up already, as if police officers nationwide haven't arrested people for much, much less. Of course, David being in a privileged position, regardless of where you believe that privilege is coming from, is the reason for why he has not been behind bars yet, obviously. But of course, when you're dealing with someone, you know, this rich, this powerful, with this many connections, not saying like the guy's like the Joker or anything, but he is rich, so he can afford to hire the best lawyers. And that is exactly what he's done, as according to independent.com, independent media outlet, they say David.
Another prime example that I can give you guys is P. Diddy. Recently, it has been announced that P. Diddy is only going to serve 4 years in prison. Meanwhile, we understand that this dude drugged and did a lot of, unspeakable things to people just to blackmail them. I mean, he's been doing this since in the 90s, and he just got convicted in 2025. You guys remember the club shooting? Yeah, the one where J-Lo was a part of? Yeah. I mean, all I can say is P. Diddy is the Epstein of the rap scene. Ooh, damn, that sounds good. P. Diddy is the Epstein of the rap scene. Oh, shit. Oh, man, look, I got to clip that one. But you get what I'm saying. That was fire. I just came up from the top of the dome.
Hires Harvey Weinstein lawyer as police investigate how teenager's body came to be found in his Tesla. And if we all know who Harvey Weinstein is, media Hollywood mogul who got outed in the Me Too era. And actually, I'm not entirely sure if he's still in prison or not. I believe he went to prison. I'm not sure if he's out yet, but that's a little background on the type of lawyer he just hired to defend him in this case. And as you can see here from ABC News, they say in their article that teen's cause of death still undetermined after body found in David's Tesla, death certificate reveals. And the latest news I heard was that the two possible ways of death she could have died, right, was either by overdose, drug overdose, or strangulation. That is the likely probable scenarios that a lot of internet sleuths, detectives, and people online suspect to be the case.
The death certificate revealing few clues about how Celeste Rivas died, only that she was not pregnant. The cause of death listed as deferred as the coroner and detectives work to figure out how the 15-year-old...
First of all, let me tell you guys something, okay? Maybe is when she peed on the thing, then she found out that she was pregnant. I mean, you can tell pretty early on that you were pregnant. And for as long as she has been in the trunk, I would tell you as soon as she passed away, obviously the baby's not going to survive inside of a dead mother. So they came up to the conclusion that she was not pregnant is perhaps because the baby was not big enough to be discovered in the belly of the mother. I'm just saying, it's not like she was 5 months pregnant and then she was unalive. No, rather, this could have been in a period of just 1 month. And in 1 month, the baby is what size? Not even the size of my fist.
decomposing body ended up in the front trunk of a Tesla registered to singer David.
In order for there to be a prosecution, law enforcement has to find some key pieces of information when it comes to a potential homicide. First, they actually need to figure out if it's a homicide or not. And the autopsy report will help give them that. Then they have to figure out the who and the how in order to bring charges.
So as we just heard, her death certificate pretty much has her cause of death as deferred, which pretty much means they cannot rule out a specific cause of death. And it does indicate that she was not pregnant, as the newscaster said. So obviously, with a little common sense here, we can all assume that detectives, they've seen everything we've seen. They've seen all the reports, the documents, the videos, the audio, the Discord logs, the TikTok posts, the pictures with Celeste. They know that was his girlfriend. They know that he was with her. They know that he was likely keeping her in his house and that she likely died in his house. Something went very wrong there. I don't know what specifically happened, but we are assuming that there are many different possibilities. Maybe she tried to leave. Maybe she didn't want to stay with him anymore. Maybe she got pregnant. Maybe he didn't want the world to find out. Maybe she wanted to go public and he had to keep it all under wraps, right? So this is going to be a very long case. Cases like this sometimes even take years and years to figure out what truly happened, right? So with that said, although I know a lot of people are angry and mad and are upset, David is not yet listed as a suspect in this case, although behind the scenes, he may be a potential suspect. It's going to be very hard to likely pin this murder on him since the body's decomposition or state of decomposition prior to it being found in that Tesla was very severe to the point to where people initially thought it was chopped up through the verbiage of dismembered. But to state this again, the body was not likely chopped up by David. It was just naturally dismembered or falling apart due to the natural decomposition of the human body or any corpse for that.
Okay, first of all, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Second of all, how did it come to the conclusion that perhaps the body was chopped up? The only way is because the bone looked like it was severely what? Cracked. The body decomposing by itself doesn't allow unless you're in the mud, buried under the ground or something, but in the back of a trunk, the bone is gonna last for years before it just breaks down. And it hasn't been 5 years. It hasn't been longer than 2 years. So it's stupid. How did it even come to that conclusion in the first place? That her body was dismembered, but it wasn't by David. Okay, how do we know that the body was dismembered in the first place? Because why? It was perhaps cut like in places like this. All right, because if the body is decomposed and then the joints, obviously the tendons that are keeping the body together have decomposed. Of course, the bone are gonna come apart, and you will see a clear sign that the muscle that's holding the bone also decomposed. And so you're not going to naturally come to a conclusion that, maybe the body was chopped up or something. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just...
that matter in the heat, in a tightly compact space like the front of a Tesla trunk, in the raging heat in a California environment in the middle of the summer. Good God, I'm hearing reports that she may have been dead for at least 4 weeks before being discovered in that Tesla. Also, according to E! News, they say David's manager speaks out amid Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death investigation. However, the manager, by the name of John Marshall, he came out and said, and I quote, "This has been a tough time for my family as I am a father of 3 children." He said, and I quote, "Also, I work remotely 95% of the time, and my job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David, as there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity. Not me. This news is tragic for so many, and for her family, I hope the proper authorities get to the bottom of it soon." The article also goes on to say, in addition to noting, and I quote, "A lot of this is speculation and alleged." Marshall concluded with, and I quote, "In the meantime, I'm with my family helping them emotionally get through the news of this tragedy." E! News has reached out to Marshall for comment, but has not yet heard back. I'd also like to note that his manager goes by the name of J Mogul on Instagram. His bio says music exec, manager, father and house husband, mogul vision, play chess and not checkers, right? Generic shit. But clearly this guy's page is now private and he does not want to be associated with this whatsoever. Although David, I believe, was his top creator, his top artist, the moneymaker for this guy. So hey, obviously now he's trying to distance himself. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's update on that case. Also guys, remember to go follow the podcast page.
Yeah. Anyways, what I do want to say in the end is like I said, as long as David keeps his mouth hush hush, eventually this is not going to lead back to him, even though there's so many evidence that say he was most likely, allegedly, guilty of committing the crime. But somebody in his position can easily be considered as a human. I have to be very specific when I say that word, and I have to beep it out because I don't know if YouTube is going to allow me to say that. But you get the idea. All in all, he's in a privileged situation, and this is going to make his career go way on to the top, and I will catch you guys up later.